Good mornings. I'm just now putting my primer on. Surprise, surprise, we're running late. Shocking information. I was returning some messages and starting to build some carts that I need to send out today because it's the last day of the sale. And we've got some people who want to stock up on some things. I was like, oh snap, if I don't get on now, I will never be ready in time for my conference call. I won't be ready for work. And so, welcome back to Authentic Beauty with Tara D. This is where we empower women to embrace their most vibrant, most authentic, and therefore most beautiful selves. And we get ready for work every morning together. I'm going to go ahead and take my holiday lip mask. It is a much thinner consistency, although it's been cold here. It's a little bit thicker today, but I put it on with a lip brush. And we're going to let that sit on our lips while we do our makeup and nourish our lips and prep them for an amazing lip look. I am doing an eyeshadow palette that I haven't done in a hot minute, but every time I do it, I'm like, oh, so good. So good. It's right up there with the White Mocha palette, in my opinion, as far as like great palettes. Today we are doing Rosé all day. Put that back in there. This is not the lip brush that I prefer because it falls out too easily and then the brush gets all over stuff in my makeup bag. This is the one that I just have here. Actually, this is the one that I have by my bedside. When I put this on at night, I just grabbed these two from my bedside and brought them in here with me this morning. We're going to let our primer set and press in on the corners of my nose just to make sure. Watching this TikTok for over an hour. What TikTok, Charlotte? There's not a... Hey, Ruth, how are you? Good morning, Susan. Good morning, Ruth. Good morning, Charlotte. How is everybody? Was it somebody live on TikTok? I don't have enough people on TikTok to be able to go live over there, but boy, I would love to do it. I think that would be so much fun. But my friends who do a lot of TikTok say like the hate's for reals on TikTok. Like the haterade is in full force. Hang on, I'm gonna move this up just so I can tilt it a little bit so that you guys can't see my ceiling up there. Okay, if you are not watching me live, I want you to drop hashtag reunion tour. Let's take care of some family business real quick. If I'm pointing to absolutely nothing right now, I am not live. You're not watching this live and in living color as I'm doing it. I'm doing this at 7:30 in the morning before work every day. So if you're seeing this in the middle of the day, trust me when I tell you that is not me in actual real time. You can always tell in this top left corner if there's a red live button on. I am live. You can comment. I can respond. Just like Charlotte said, the random ones. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Brenda. Good morning, Trisha. How are you? Trisha, I have a message I was actually crafting right before I got here to you. I was trying to start messages for Brenda, for Michaela, for Trisha. And a couple other people. So I need to finish that after we do this. But I was like, if I don't get on here right now, we are not going to be ready for our conference call. If we're not ready for our conference call, we might get in trouble. If we're not on our conference call, the rest of the day is backed up because here's what I do while I'm letting this set. I can tell y'all, here's what I do. Oh, and I'll put my ears on so that I'm not using my glasses. That winds up, see, it's already got setting spray on it. Not a good plan. Here's what happens. Just insights to my day because somebody messaged me through my stories yesterday and was like, how come you never show us what you do after you do your live? It's always just like before your live and then after your makeup. And then we don't see anything else. I'm like, that's because I'm at my job. I literally get off here. I pick up my phone. I get on my conference call. While I'm on my conference call, I'm packing my work bag. After my conference call, I go and I'm like, hey, this is what the makeup look like. Got to go buy. I hop in the car and I drive to work. And because I work in healthcare, we can't be posting all kinds of things throughout the day at work. That's an invasion of some people's privacy. If you were a patient in the hospital with names all around on the doors, would you want your name blasted up on the stories? No, you wouldn't. So that's why I don't do that. It's not that I don't want to share my day with you guys. We have to think of other things while we're at the job that I work at. So, good morning, Becky. Thank you so much for sharing, Brenda. Thank you so much for sharing, Trisha. I'm just cleaning my glasses. Okay, now I've pretty much decided that this one's not the one for me. I'm gonna use it, or just like mom hack, I'll give it to Mia. She's not nearly as picky as I am. Although I say that, but every time I buy her something, she's like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm like, really? That's why I was so surprised. Sorry. I just ate because I was talking while I was spraying. I just ate setting spray. That's why I was so surprised that when I started buying unique products that she liked them. Because see, if I'm associated with them, automatically she's not gonna like anything. At least that's how it is for shoes and clothes. Anybody feel me on a 15-year-old daughter? The struggle is for real. With no concern. And she thinks that she knows everything, and I absolutely know nothing. Speaking of knowing nothing, she does not believe in eye primer. She uses concealer for her eye primer, which is fine as long as it's the right kind of concealer. It's not too creamy because that'll make it move all over your eyes. But I believe in eye primer. She makes fun of me for that. That's why I bring it up. And so I'm going to go ahead and put some eye primer on right here on this lid. I'm going to wipe it off my eyes, like off my lashes. I'm going to get it on my lid, and while I'm doing the rest of my makeup, it's going to set for me. This is super important for a hooded-eyed girl, especially because creasing happens, especially somebody like me that I have what I call oily eyelids. And it's going to help prevent that barrier of oil breaking through and creasing my eye makeup. It's also going to give me the opportunity for these to shine a little bit better. I wonder, hold on. I act like I have all the time in the world. Let's put some eye primer right here. Keep in mind where that is. Do you see that eye primer? Let me use a brush I don't want to use. Like that I'm not going to use on a regular basis. We're going to use this blending brush. I'm going to go in. Should I use this color or the? I'll go in with this color. I'm going to put it on this, and then I'm going to put it on my naked skin. We're going to see. Okay. Hang on. I forgot where I put it. We're just going to put a wide variety. Okay. And then over here where it's not. Hang on. Go back in. I need more. Wow. Can you see the difference? This is the eye primer and this is not. Hang on. Let me put more. I was patting it in so much to get it onto the part that doesn't have the eye primer that I created all that dust. I was like, get that on that brush because it's not applying. I'm pressing it in. I'm literally pressing this brush, and you can see the color payoff is quite different. Do you see that? You're going to use way more powder not using a primer, and it's not going to stay as long. And you can see the color payoff is totally different. Good morning, Kim. How are you? They can be extremely challenging. Good morning, Lindsay. How are you? Good morning, Dina. What's happening? All the gang is here. Okay. So do y'all see that? Eye primer? No eye primer? Yeah. And I did it in real time, so you know. I mean, like, get it on there, sister. Get it on there. It's not getting on. There's a distinct difference in the payoff. Let me get closer so you can see. You can see my skin through this one. Do you see that? But not really through this one. Good morning, Dina. Good morning, Rain. Yeah, I think so too, Trisha. I think so too. Let me put this over to the side. I got to remember to clean that. It's not a brush that I use on a regular basis. This I used to use as my blending brush. This is a Sephora blending brush. I really don't like this brush as a blending brush. I used to love it as a blending brush. I use this as a blending brush now. Look at the shape. It's totally different. This has longer bristles, a little bit less compact than this. So especially with blending, you're going to want movement on the bristles and a light, airy feel to softly blend. Something that's more compact and dense is going to apply color and blend out in a very uneven manner. So I switched blending brushes, but I kept it. Why did I keep it? I never use it. I never do. And the reason it's got pink nail polish on it is because I wanted to be able to look and see without wearing glasses which brush was the blending brush. So I identified it with nail polish. It's my go-to. Nail polish. This is my secondary sculpting brush that I use for blush. Nail polish. This is my secondary setting powder brush that I use for blush. Nail polish. This is my secondary powder puff brush that I actually exclusively use for bronzer because I don't want shimmery all over my face when I'm putting on my regular powder. That's in my compact. I identify it separately. So, I'm weird like that. I did, Becky, and we have not started beauty school yet. I talked about it yesterday with all the traveling and then all the things that have been going on. I'm going to have to defer beauty school till probably starting this weekend or Monday of next week. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I have to start getting makeup on, but I'll just share with you guys. And it's just what's been going on. We have been going through a process now for several months and months. And at the end of this process, John was identified to be, he was diagnosed on the autism spectrum. So we have been, when I came back immediately from Mexico, I was delusional and thinking I could start beauty school right away the very next day. When I was in Mexico is when I got the word that they wanted to do some feedback sessions with us about recommendations, resources, and all the things. And so the end of last week and into this week, we have all kinds of appointments every single day. That's why it's been a little bit crazy for me. Teleconference meetings, Zoom meetings, and in-person meetings. The last one is tomorrow, but that one's in person to give us feedback because autism is a brand new diagnosis for us. And we are completely ignorant and unaware of what we should be doing, how we should be advocating for him within his school system, how we should be researching for programs or services, resources, anything that we can do to help him have, an independent lifestyle as an adult. And so I've been doubling down on all that since I got back from Mexico. We got the word in Mexico about the need for the feedback sessions. Hey, Lindsay, he is 9. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. IEP programs. I don't know what IEP means. What is IEP? We're going to try satin. I don't think I have cashmere. Do I have cashmere in series? Look at that. I do. So it's been a whirlwind actually since about last August. It's been individual. Oh, we call that something different here, Rhonda. Yeah. And so that's part of the problem. He's a junior in high school now. He's gone all these years undiagnosed, and it's been a little bit of a whirlwind because he was tested earlier on when he was little, 4 years old, and we were told he was absolutely positively not on the spectrum, that he just had sensory processing dysfunction. And you guys, and there are some other things that are going on too. Y'all probably saw it. I try not to make a big deal of it because I don't want to bring attention to it for him because I know he's self-conscious about it. But he's developed these motor tics and it bothers him a lot. He was on live with me not too long ago. And he was doing it back there. He does all these severe motor tics. I'm so sorry. But he's super self-conscious about it because he's a junior in high school and the other kids notice. And so we are trying to work through figuring out how to help him. And not be, he has such an amazing mindset with all of it, that the self-consciousness of all the tics that have been happening in the last month, that we want to, I mean, if I could take it away, I would, right? If I could take all those, like, those twitches and tics that he does, and people stare at him wherever we go when he's doing it. And I know he sees them staring at him. Sorry. He's such a good child. I just don't want him to struggle with that. We can overcome anything. We just got to figure it out. Do you know what I mean? We just have to figure it out. Sorry. I can't put on eye makeup like this. Seriously? Seriously? But, so the school district obviously is going to be a huge component. He's a junior in high school. We're halfway through his junior year. And what does that mean for, college applications? How can we best set him up to be, we've been wondering, we have been struggling. It's like beating our head against a brick wall, trying to figure out how to help this child, why he is so dialed into devices and not humans. And now it totally makes sense, right? Now it totally makes sense. But I have no way to, I don't understand how to help him. And if he's not dialed into humans and he can't get off these addictive devices that he's got, that's impeding his ability to complete his homework, and he's failing classes. They tested his intellect. I mean, anybody who has had a child go through autism testing knows that they do a full-scale IQ test. And he came back in the superior intellect category, which I'm like, scoreboard. That means for the rest of your life, honey, and the rest of my days. Anytime you tell me that you don't know, I gotta say that's bullshit. Because you are, it's been proven you are of superior intellect. Try again, son. Try again. But anyway, sorry. Thank y'all so much. I so appreciate it. I'm so silly for crying. I know it's not silly. But I would do anything to take, the motor tics have worsened in the last month. And he really didn't have that before. And we thought originally it was because of the anxiety and stress of driving, learning how to drive. And they are at their highest at that point. It is painful to watch. And it's painful to watch because I know that he's self-conscious about it. And I would do nothing but to take that away from him. And look, this color is not even close to what my color is right now. Gosh, if there's any reason to cry. Just kidding, we can fix it. Everything is fixable, whether it's makeup or life, right? Everything is fixable. We just have to dedicate extra time in the day that maybe we think we don't have. If it comes down to doing beauty school or getting this settled for John, I'm getting things settled for John first. There's just no way about it. So we're having to punt beauty school for a few more days until we can get some of these referrals made and on the books. Because my biggest fear, a lot of these things are in the evenings. Well, that's when I do beauty school. Because, you know, I work. Tomorrow's meeting has to be in person. So I can't do it at the end. You know what I mean? I can't do it at the end of the day. I have to do it. I tried to schedule it. Let's see, I got back. When did I schedule that? I got back Tuesday, but I was late getting back. I didn't get home till late because we had a bunch of tornadoes here that day. And I got back on Wednesday. I called them on Wednesday to set it up, and they actually did me a favor by squeezing us in as early as they did. They were like, well, we have We might have an opening. Let me call the family and see if they're able to keep their appointment or cancel. But this is a family that's canceled a couple of times on us, so I suspect they'll cancel. And I was like, okay. And she's like, just keep your schedule open just in case anybody cancels. We'll get you in. Because I was telling her, like, this is not a 4-year-old child. This is somebody who's about to graduate from high school, and we have got to get him on the right track with the resources at school. We call it a 504. And all the resources that he needs to be successful. Literally like 2 years ago, we needed this. And I'm real not happy because I'm going to go ahead and put concealer on even though I was crying. I'll pat all those tears in. That's just extra hydration, right? This live went in a totally different direction than what I was planning. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do a full Rosé all day tutorial today. We might have to do bare basics because it's already 8 o'clock. So anyway, there's a lot going on. As you can tell, there's a lot happening over here at Chateau d'Anzaro. And we are just like trying to go and do as much as we can do in a day. And then we fall into bed and we fall asleep and then we wake up and we do it all over again. But I feel like once we get the school stuff settled, this last feedback session is going to be the stuff that we need to talk to the school about, and everything that the doctor needs for the school to be able to start him on the right path with resources from the school district. Because, they just don't take your word for it. There's all this process, right? So tomorrow, not today, tomorrow will be the last day. Well, that's not true. We have one more appointment next Monday. That's with his pediatrician. So look what we did. We did some concealer. Okay, let me go back. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all. Thank you. Yeah, we call the individual education plans a 504 here. I don't know. In the beginning, I was so overwhelmed, like things were spinning so much that they were throwing out all these acronyms. I was like, I didn't even ask what they meant. They could have said IEP. They could have said LMO, X, Y, and Z too. And I probably would have never heard it. Because I was like, wait a second. What we were told when he was 4, it's 100% absolutely not on the spectrum. That he just had sensory processing dysfunction. And they were so adamant that you do not have to have autism in order to have sensory processing dysfunction. That although they often work in tandem, and about 99% of the children with autism have sensory processing dysfunction, that it is not exclusive to autism. And that was the case for John. So all these years that we've had struggles with him, he's very difficult. It's a good thing he's not like a bad child because he's very difficult to parent. He does not respond to reward or punishment. That's a very difficult child to parent. He would not care if we took something away from him for not doing something. And the lure of giving him his very most favorite thing in the whole entire world isn't enough to encourage him to do something that he doesn't want to do. How do you do that? How? I'm just going to go ahead and buff this out a little bit. Do we have anything left on here? No, but we're going to press it on anyway because it's just that good. Okay. Oh, thank you, Sheila. Thank you. Thank you, Leah. Thank you. I appreciate y'all so much. I try not to bring that here just because, there's light and happiness. And it makes me so happy when he helps me. But the other day when he was helping me on Saturday, I could see him in the corner of my eye doing all that. And hoping that he wasn't seeing himself, because he was watching me on the iPad back there because he monitors comments. Because I know how self-conscious he is about it. I try just not to bring attention to it, because I feel like the more attention I bring to it, and this is what we're going to talk about tomorrow with him, with the doctors, the more attention I bring to it, I think the more self-conscious it makes him about it. The more self-conscious he is about it, the higher the anxiety is about it. The higher the anxiety is, the more it happens. So it's like this crazy cycle that we can't get out of if I'm always bringing it to his attention. So I don't ever tell him to stop or whatever. I try to give him alternate things to try to, like a stress ball, massaging his shoulders, because it's his neck. When he's driving, y'all, it's so bad. It's really, really, really bad. And he slaps himself on the neck to get it to stop. That's how much it frustrates him. It's so hard to watch him do that. Okay, I have to stop talking about it, because I am never going to get makeup on if my eyes continue to tear up like that. Thank you so much, Kim. Dina says, my stepson has Asperger's and kids can be so mean. That's true. He's now 29 and living on his own and doing great, but it was a struggle in his teenage years. And that's kind of what we're going through. Fortunately, Dina, John has never, fortunately and not fortunately, John has never really been a very, hasn't really adopted to social norms. He's always been extremely socially awkward. Well, now that makes sense, doesn't it? Right? We couldn't understand why. Like, his dad talks for a living and so do I, right? So I had to coach him on how to have conversations when he was younger, on the bus, when kids were bullying him on the bus and stuff, and how to make friends with people. He sat in middle school, the first 9 months of middle school, by himself and ate lunch every day alone every day at a lunch table by himself for 9 months, his first year in middle school. And so I would coach him on how to have these kinds of conversations, to try to invite somebody that he at least spoke to in class to have lunch with them. And it was a long process and a slow process. And now we know why it was a slow process, because he doesn't easily adopt strategies. He's super slow with adopting to things. Now we know why. We didn't know all that back then. We were just beating our head against a brick wall for years and years and years. Thank you, Trisha. Yeah, we're just exhausting all avenues that we possibly can at this point. 504 isn't the same as an IEP. Well, maybe that's what they're going to be talking, because tomorrow's the one about what we need to do with the school. I'll probably get more information about that. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. Yes, it's such a blessing to have an answer right now. But now is the task to learn more all about it, right? So just like I, like to learn about makeup. Fun fact, I hate to read. Like, if I didn't even have to read street signs while I was driving, I wouldn't read them. I hate to read. It makes me fall asleep. It's so boring. I like to listen to books on tape. But fun fact, I have finished maybe 5 or 6 books in my whole entire life, like actual reading pages books, right? 2 of them were about Marilyn Monroe, and the others were all about sensory processing dysfunction and raising children with sensory processing. So I will read if it's something that I need to understand and know for my children. I was anti-reading in school, FYI. I won't do it for me, but I'll do it for them. Does anybody know what I mean? Oh, thank you. I love John too. He's so smart. He's so sweet. That child, I'm going to tell you, that boy has empathy more than probably all the rest of us combined. I mean, he got the empathy gene in spades. He is so kind. And so we knew that very, very, very early on. that he was different in that way. Soccer, the other team, the coach was an EMS worker, and he actually was like so blown away by this. And actually John, their team came in last place, but at the end of the season, John got an award from the coach. And he said he got, they called it the EMS award or something like that. It was something that they made up just for John because the coach was an EMS worker. And what do EMS workers do? They're the first responders to help others, right? So and the reason why he won that award, it did not go unnoticed by the coach, was that they were, in the middle of a game, and one of the opponent's team members fell down while people were scrambling for the ball. John stopped everything that he was doing and went over to that other team member from the other team, not his team, and helped. He had the ball. He was supposed to be running with it and kicking it into the goal. He stopped, left the ball, and went and picked up that child and helped that child up. I mean, how sweet, right? So he got the EMS award. They made it up for him because he was like, that's what EMS, that I see that he's going to be an EMS worker. That's what the coach said. But he's so sweet. Yeah. I mean, we are trying to be on top of it. It's a lot of information. It's kind of overwhelming. It's like when you start a new job, right? And you don't even know what you don't even know. Do you know what I mean? You don't know what you don't know, That's how I feel. That's how I feel. We're just, kind of taking it one day at a time. At a time. But there are a lot of resources. And I am, I fully acknowledge he is not what most people would look at and identify as on the spectrum. I mean, it was hidden from us. His mother's a healthcare professional. It was hidden from us for years and years and years and years, for 12 years. 12 years ago, we could have had a handle on this. Had I not been so dependent on the therapists that we were seeing at the time for his speech, identified the sensory processing, but were completely adamant that it was not autism. Had I not been, all these years, I've been like, well, because people have asked me, do you think he might be on the spectrum? I'm like, no, they've already told us he's not. So I have no idea. I would literally immediately dismiss it because they were like, no, he's definitely not, on the spectrum. He just has sensory processing dysfunction, although that impeded his everyday life in school. And now, although he's not somebody that you would say has profound autism, he's definitely on the higher functioning end of it, obviously, but it still impedes his everyday life. If left to his own devices, he would be in his room on electronic devices and never leave his room, left to his own will. Not any different than how somebody who is addicted to alcohol can't get away from it, and it impedes their day-to-day functioning. That's how I felt about this electronics thing. And now I know that part of it is the autism at play that we never knew was there. That kind of feeds into it a little bit. He does know the difference between right and wrong, though. So he's able to make conscious choices about what he should be doing and how he should be spending his time. And I'm not, and I told him this, I'm not going to be automatically just giving you a pass just because you have this diagnosis yet. I mean, now, this isn't just a free pass to do willy-nilly and just be like, oh, well, he has autism. That's why. We're not going to hold him accountable. No, he 100% knows the difference between right and wrong. So it's a whole different crux of issues on how to approach parenting with him, much less get him what he needs at school, much less get him what he needs connected to the medical professionals he needs to be connected with, much less figuring out how to get these motor tics under control. And why are they all of a sudden appearing? He's always had some motor tics, never like this. Never really noticeable to people outside the house. So, thank you, Susan. Y'all are too kind. Trisha, he's really interested in electronics and video games, and it's impeding his ability to finish his homework. We bought a safe. I came home one day, the safe was on its side. He was that desperate to get into it, to get his devices. I mean, it's a lot. Me too, Brenda. It's a lot of moving parts, and it's a very complicated and layered situation. Yeah, John, and that's one of the other things that makes sense to me. Like when he was a boy, before I even had children, I knew for sure that I was going to be a baseball mom. That was my parenting journey. I was gonna live my life on the baseball field. Little League, Kyle Chapman, high school, college, all the things. I didn't have MLB dreams for my son, but I always had like college baseball dreams for my son. And he wanted to play. That was his desire to be part of a team, and part of belonging, but he really didn't ever want to play the games. He just wanted to be hanging out with people. But not really with them. Like they would be in their group and then he would be over here, but he felt with them, but he was not with them. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody. So anyway, at the end of the day, it took 3 very painful Little League baseball seasons with lots of not understanding what was happening here. How is this possible that he wouldn't love baseball or even be talented? He has not 1 ounce of athletic ability in all of his beautiful little body. He does not have 1 iota of athletic abilities. And it took me a long time to have an appreciation. That I was devastated. It was like loss of hopes and dreams, right? And I'm 100% not going to have an eyeshadow look on. Let me get some blush on, and then let me put some eyeshadow on, and we might be able to like salvage a look here. I'm so sorry. We're going to do Fresh Orchid for blush. We're going to dot a couple of dots on. Oops, I'm getting it on my hair. Dot, dot. Ooh, that's a strong dot. Dot, dot. And then we're just going to buff it out with this. Okay. It took a long time. Brush that out. It took a long time, but his talents are intellectual. Oh, that is way too much blush. Look at me making a mess of myself here. Buff that out, sister. Buff it out. Oh, I have an idea. Fun fact. Oh, it is Tuesday. Tip Tuesday. Take your kabuki brush that you applied your foundation on with. If you go a little too dark like this, run over that top line with your foundation brush to deaden it. And blend it a little bit better. And look how we saved the day. Everything is fixable in life and makeup, right? Anyway, it took everything I had, and it was a long, hard process, painful, to realize that his talents were highly intellectual talents and not anything athletic. So, and he reads like a crazy person. I hate to read. That's one of my most favorite things about him, is that he loves to read when I can't stand it. I mean, I just have so much respect for that. Okay, let's get a little bit of eye on. Yeah. So they did say, yeah, he loves electronics, but that's a problem. He can't self-modulate that. He can't. He is not in control of himself with devices. he can't stop himself from continuing. He will not get up and do the things he has to do because he's like on these things, these games. It's Pokemon. It's not anything like killing people or whatever. I'm going to take this light pink color. We're going to use my Shadow Moon, and we're going to try to salvage a look here. We're going to have to do Rosé all day tomorrow too, because I am not doing its justice today. That's for sure. Let's see what we can salvage, because I literally have I have about 10 minutes before my conference call alarm goes off. But I thought we were getting somewhere because we got the diagnosis. It was a little bit of alarming to me when it was suggested that we actually have him fully tested. Because I was like, no, they said he didn't. Fun fact, the people who said that he didn't back in the day, and this is kind of like what spawned it, I got notification not too long ago about the same time, a little bit after we were told that it was recommended that we have him tested. We got a letter from the Justice Department. I was like, why is John getting a letter from the Justice Department? It was from the Victims Assistance Program of the Justice Department. The people who diagnosed him with sensory processing dysfunction were in jail for fraud and were about to be released. And as one of the identified victims, based on the medical records of fraud, he was being notified of their release. So I was like, I brought it to the therapist that actually was the one who recommended that we have him tested. And she was like, okay, well, we 100% need this. We need to get this settled. Okay, I'm using a little bit of color right here to try to change the contour shape of my eye. So the part that's the hood tends to be a lot lighter and shows up more. If I could put a medium toned color on it, it will dye that down and make it not look so forward, if that makes sense. Okay. What else are we going to do? Let's take another, that was a fluffy crease brush that I used for all over kind of. We're going to take another fluffy crease brush. We're going to start to layer in just a tiny bit of this burgundy-ish color. Not too much. We're going to use a fluffy brush so it's not too dark. And I'm just going to do some light circles right here, just to be able to get a little bit of color on that outer corner. And I'm going to kind of bring a little bit over. Nice slight color, but I do want that pink color. So these are the two colors that I'm using. I want that kind of hazy pink color to not lose itself up here. So I'm going to go over the top of that darker color with that pink color a little higher to my brow. And this is probably going to be as good as it gets today. So let me just say this. If y'all see John on live with me and he's doing it's so rapid when it's bad. He can't stop it. Comment to him, ask him a question. Let's get his brain thinking about other things. That's why I got the stress balls. That's why I massage his shoulders. Sometimes we're doing this technique that we learned. I mean, again, it's a process of, I forget what the name of the technique is, but it's where you go full body. You start kind of at the top of your body, you go down to your toes, and you do this intense muscle contraction and then release. And that's supposed to help alleviate some of those symptoms of the stress and anxiety, whatever happens to be causing these motor tics. It helps with that. But also, distracting him by asking him questions, I think is probably a good thing. Because then his brain is working on the answers and not on that stuff, especially if he's on camera. Okay, so I'm going to take this color right here. Rosé all day is not is not a new palette for me, FYI. It's an old palette for me, but I hardly ever do it. But since we're coming up on Valentine's, I was like, you know what I hadn't done in a while? Rosé all day. Let's take our blending brush and let's blend this out. And we're just gonna go with whatever we've got. Oh wait, hold on. Again, with that lighter pink color, we're gonna go. I'm just gonna brush the top edge right here of that metallic right here and right here. And we're going to get a little bit of blend of that metallic into that matte. And then that lighter color, it can actually come all the way up to my brow, okay? And then we're just gonna take this color right here. Oops, I grabbed the wrong brush, but we're just gonna have to use it because we don't have any time. And we're gonna create that little line that we always create, right? Right here and right there for a little bit of outer edge action. See how that just kind of defines that outer edge for me? For my hooded eyes, that's important. We lose a lot of definition on our outer corners of our eyes. That's why a lot of the emphasis is pulling this way and on the outer edge when we're hooded and mature. There. Now I can take the pink, same brush, and just blend that in, right? Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. I am not done, but I just want to say this. Y'all have really, I'm so sorry that I started crying earlier in my live, and I don't talk about it a lot because, well, also it's personal for him, and I don't, he's 16 years old. Not that he's ashamed. He's not ashamed in any way of his diagnosis. But I wanted to be able to, I want him to be able to do it on his terms and talk about it on his terms. But apparently the floodgates open today. And we just put it out there. So I want to say thank y'all for all y'all's support. I really do. I really can't even imagine. Like, your love gets me through stuff. Coming here every morning, I'm gonna not cry again, I promise. Coming here every morning, because this is a happy thing. Coming here every morning and getting ready for work. Sometimes what I see at my job is very sad. I work for a hospital that weans patients off of ventilators. Families are in crisis. Patients are in crisis. These are the sickest of the sick people here in Houston, Texas. And sometimes what I see is extremely, extremely sad in a day. And that's kind of how this all started for me. Like, quarantine and COVID for my hospital, I'll be there 12 years next month. 12 years, a dozen years. What I was seeing during the pandemic and during quarantine, and then not being able to be connected to people, to talk about it with people, was making me really, really, really sad. And I had never had a history of having issues of sadness. And I could see it moving that direction. You know, I joined Unique to get discount for myself, but that was during the pandemic. That was April of 2020. The next thing, and we thought at the time that things were going to go away. It was going to magically disappear. We'd all be out by 4th of July, having 4th of July barbecues and everything like that. Well, when that didn't happen, and day after day, I was finding out that my friends were hanging out and not inviting me because they thought I was going to bring COVID over to their houses because of where I work. Or, you know, other groups of people hanging out and privately, like on the sly, house parties and stuff like that, and not inviting us over because of my job and my profession. It was very saddening to me. It made me question a lot of things. It actually gave me a very realistic mindset on friendship and relationships. That kind of changed the game for me. And being able to have boundaries with friends. And really, at the end of the day, why would we want to spend time with people who make us feel bad about ourselves, or who have who don't make us, because nobody makes you feel a certain way, but who trigger things in us to where we don't feel good about ourselves. Why are we spending our time with those people? Or who are constantly in negativity and drama? Do you know what I mean? Like constantly bitching and complaining about something. That's not what I need in my life. I could get that on every street corner. What I need in my life is positivity, support, love, compassion. People who like want to see, not that we're unrealistic and unicorns or like, you know, that we believe in unicorn farts or anything like that, but having positivity, when you look for positivity, you find it. So because I see sad stuff every day, you guys lift me up every morning. This is what I do. I get ready to go to work. I get ready to go to work and see a lot of sad stuff every single day. And I just like, this brings me into my workday in the most positive mindset. Being with you guys here brings the most positive mindset to me that I walk into my job, and I can better serve my company, better serve my patients, better serve their families, and come to them in a much more kinder, compassionate, and empathetic way, because my mind is right before I get there. And that's because of you guys. It totally is. It's 100% because of you. And I realize I haven't been reading comments. I'm going to go back and look at comments. Hopefully I get a chance during lunch today. I love that we're going to pretend like we get a lunch today. I did get a lunch yesterday. Would love the record to reflect. That's the first lunch I've had in a while. But I did get one yesterday. So we're going to go for two. We're going to go for back-to-back lunches, y'all. And hopefully today, during lunch, I can go through the comments and respond to them. But I just wanted to say that, like, y'all just lift me so much. I hope that in any small way I can do that for you in return. I know it's just putting on makeup, and I know I am doing like the lightest brow possible here, but it's just what we have to do to get through the moment, right? I know that it's just makeup, but it really is so much more than that to me. I mean, it's so much more than that to the company because of the mission, and I won't get into all that because we don't have time, but it's so much more than that to me, and I hope that it can be so much more than that for you, and all the things. Dina says, I worked in healthcare as an OR tech, and physical injury took me out. Burnout is real. We all see it. Yes. Oh my gosh. So I see a lot of not just COVID, and ventilators and all that, but trauma, car accidents, motorcycle accidents. The other thing, like 16-year-old kids hot rodding around in their car, flipping their cars, rolling their cars, life changes in 2.5 seconds. Because the hospital that I do my assessments at is the level 1 trauma center for the greater Houston area, one of them. And it's no joke. It's no joke, the stuff that gets down. Plane crashes, hit by trains, hit by cars, other cars hitting cars, motorcycle accidents, boating accidents, devastating, catastrophic strokes. Things that legit change your life in a nanosecond. That's what I see every day. Hang on, we've got to get, I think I'm just going to do this eyeliner that happens to be also a lip liner. I'm going to do my mascara on my conference call. I'm doing that a lot lately. But I do want to at least show y'all a lip. Thank y'all so much for hanging with me today. Lifting me up, wiping my tears. Y'all wiped my tears for me. And just being that positive constant for me. Where is Affluent? What do I need? What's my constant in my lipstick life? Affluent. She's so good. Did I put deodorant on? I feel I'm sweating a lot. Can you tell? Did I put deodorant on today? I know I did. There. Super soft. It's such a beautiful compliment to this palette. And I promise I will do this again tomorrow. We will do Rosé all day. It's justice. I got sidetracked with crying and all the things and talking about like everything going on. Check out what I did in the beginning. If y'all are watching this at the end, y'all have to watch the replay. It really didn't start out a hot mess. or like a therapy session, but that's what it ended up like being. And this is with eye primer, and this is without. You can see a huge difference. And you should have seen how much it took to get this color payoff versus this. Okay. Anyway, today's the last day of the skincare sale. If anybody needs skincare, I've got a link in my stories on Instagram, direct to the skincare sale. You can, it's mix and match, build your own bundle. So you can do whatever you want. All you have to do is go to Instagram at Tara_D_71. Watch my stories. You'll see a link there if you want it. Or you can message me privately and tell me what you need me to build a cart for. I do have carts for people I have a list of people that I am building carts for today. Don't think I've forgotten about you. I really haven't. Things have just kind of gotten all haywire with all these appointments and all of these figuring things out and trying to get John's things under control. But we will get that accomplished today. No doubt about it. We will be starting beauty school in the very near future within the next week. So don't worry about that either. I promise you, if you've if you've applied for beauty school, you have not lost your spot. Okay. You have not lost your spot. Thank you so much, Dina. Sales are over today for skincare, Trisha. That's why I was starting to message you when I realized I was running late. Okay, let's do our badass quote for the day. Oh God, I'm late. It's short and sweet, so we can do it really quickly. Tuesday, January 1st, you are a badass. Love yourself, no matter who you really are. With that, sisters, I'm going to sign off. Make sure you message me if you need me.